I think it's 1 o'clock, the bewitching hour. Welcome, everyone. I'm Bob Mariani, your general manager, and I'm going to introduce the program today. Probably some of you have been to the several active health presentations this year, and there's been one thing in common with all of them, and that is that exercise is good for you. It's good for your body, and it's good for your brain. But the big question is, what do you do if you can't get to the gym? And these folks right here are going to answer that question. First, we have Lonnie Davis. I'm sure none of you know who Lonnie is. Just a second, I need to tell you about him. Lonnie's our fitness coordinator. He's been with SCOV for 15 years. And he has certifications with the Aquatic Exercise Association and YMCA for group exercise and strength training and group cycling. And he also teaches many forms of Zumba, including Aqua, Tone, Cedo, Basic, and Gold. I know a lot of times Lonnie has said to me that when people thank him for making them feel stronger or putting a smile on their face with one of his jokes, he really makes his day. So, I can't tell you about Ray now. Our other presenter is Ray Jerkins. He's been an ACE certified personal trainer for 13 years, and the majority of those when he's been with Sun City. Ray has extensive knowledge and experience in training individuals with all sorts of challenges, and I've seen him train an awful lot with things like stroke, multiple sclerosis, heart disease, Parkinson's, and more. In fact, the Vistoso area physical therapists have a high opinion of Ray because they know that Ray will continue the proper therapy when our residents are released from the therapist. And the only thing, I know Ray's in really good shape and he's very careful about what he eats, but I hear he has a real weakness for chocolate pie. Isn't that true, Ray?
That's true.
Okay. Also, helping Lonnie and Ray today will be Sharon Hertle, and Sharon has a MS in psychology and has lived here since 1999. She retired in 2010 after a HR career with several high-tech companies, and she holds group fitness certification from National Exercise Trainers Association and Silver Sneakers. And she's been teaching the Sunriser class here for about the last year. So with that, what do we do when we can't get to the gym?
Okay. Number one, before you even start to think about exercise, you got to ask your physician for permission. That should probably be the other way around. You should probably have to ask for permission to sit on the couch. But Sharon and I are going to demonstrate a few exercises as we go through this because we don't have time to do everything in the handout. I'm going to try to pick out the most important ones. And this first line is always protect your spine. Okay, you've got a handout, and that says Exhibit 1. And then it says the alternative exercise options while AFC is being renovated. So Exhibit 1, and any of my clients who are in the audience have all been through this. I think this is important. There's three things here. The first one is the hip hinge, probably the most important thing because that's how you bend over to pick things up. You need to bend from the hip. That's your hip hinge, not from your spine or your thoracic area. We have this little stick because Sharon's going to place that on the back of her head and down here on her butt. Soft flex in her knees, and she's going to bend over. She keeps these two contact points like she has a nice straight back here. Okay? So she's safe to lift anything from this position. Now if she bends over and one of these points come off, okay, round your back. Like that, now she's got a rounded back and we put her back at risk. Okay? So it's one thing you can do to practice this is probably get about 8 inches to 12 inches away from a wall. Try to bend backwards and touch your butt to the wall while keeping your back straight. See, I'm only this far. You'll be surprised how long of a way that seems, because most of the people here, especially the first time I work with somebody, when they want to squat, they do this. When you really need to do this. Okay, that will really protect your back. Actually, let's say, yeah, that's how you would basically pick something up, whether it be a heavy object or a light object. And you want to get in that habit. So that is something that you want to practice throughout the day. And I don't practice that anymore because you're never going to see me squat down any different than that. So once it gets ingrained, you don't have to practice that anymore. I'll mention the part about the abdominal bracing, which a lot of people have. How many people have been in a yoga class? Okay, quite a few, about half. Abdominal bracing is really just pulling your belly button in a little bit and then bracing your abdominals like somebody's going to punch you in the stomach. That's what men understand. Women understand pull your stomach in and do a Kegel movement. It's basically the same sort of thing. What you're trying to do is just tighten all these muscles around your lumbar area. Okay, the right way to squat, and when you squat, you should be braced also. Keep your spine in neutral is going to keep you out of trouble. The third thing in there, I'm not going to spend time on. If anybody has any questions on that, catch me in the gym. It's basically a postural recorrection exercise and or a pain relief exercise if you hurt your back. Okay, and so you always want to do a warm-up before you begin any exercise. And so depending on what you're going to do is depending on the kind of warm-up you're going to do. If you're just going to go take a walk, well, your warm-up would be your walk, smaller steps probably, nice slow pace, and that'll warm you up. If you're going to play tennis, I think you need to do things like little movements. I don't see people doing that. You know, little movements, then maybe you speed them up a little bit, because that's what you got to do in tennis, right? All right, or golfers, if you go on a driving range, what are they doing? They're warming up, but they're going through the motions that they need to go through in order to warm their body up for the specific sport they're playing. So that's all kind of different stuff, depending on what you want to do. If you're coming into the gym and you're going to do weight training, doing the treadmill and then think you're warmed up for weight training, ain't getting it. So you need to be doing multiple type of movements for the kind of exercises you may be doing. And maybe you're using no weight with those. And then you work up. Okay? Where to exercise? You can exercise at home. Actually, you can get a lot done at home. We've got this exhibit 3A through 3C. It requires no equipment at all. And as you pace yourself through an exercise routine, you can make it a little harder or a little easier, whatever you need to do. Some things on here may or may not be applicable.
Try to change your mic.
Am I too loud? Okay, so we're going to demonstrate a couple of these exercises again. If you don't understand something, I'll be available after class here, and I've got some equipment I want to show you guys that is either low cost or no cost kind of stuff. So that will be at the very end after the question and answer period. We'll look at the equipment that I use a lot myself. Again, low cost and some no cost stuff. We're gonna demonstrate. The first thing is going to be a push-up, and the many ways that you can do a push-up. Now, this is about the easiest way to do a push-up. Sharon's standing, she's in nice posture. Everything is about posture. Okay? So her shoulder is basically right in line with her hip, and that's how she should be, whatever position I put her in a push-up. Okay, so now we're going to, before she gets tired, now we're going to take her and put her down on the chair. And again, she keeps that nice alignment, and we've increased the exercise intensity quite a bit there. Okay. Okay, and then I'll do the one on the floor. Then I can do that with one leg up. And you can take it to any level you want on that. Okay, there's nothing that I'm going to show you today that I can't make harder. Okay? Okay, next thing we're going to do is a bridge. It's a real important exercise. It's a butt exercise. Most people in here have weak butts. You're using your hamstrings for all your work instead of your butt. So what we're going to do, let's bring you back down. First thing you do when you're doing a bridge, you do your abdominal bracing. Belly button in, Kegel movement, or punch in the stomach. Then you're going to lift through your hips. You're trying to keep your feet real quiet. If your feet are tense and you're pushing through your feet, most of that work is all going in your hamstring and you're not even getting to your butt, which is your weak body part. And you want to squeeze that together. And some of the things I've read, it's like pretend you're trying to squeeze a quarter between your butt. I can't imagine being able to do that, but maybe some people can. I can't. I haven't tried it, though. I haven't tried it. Okay, so that's the first couple exercises I just pulled out of that routine that you can do at home. We're going to go to the next one, which is Exhibit 4A to 4C. And so this is more advanced and requires some minimal equipment. There's some bands. And we've got a ball in there too. Now, we're going to have Sharon demonstrate a lunge, which she's very good at. But we're first going to do, three-quarter lunge, which would be a shorter lunge, okay? So the major thing to think about on a lunge, your lead foot has to stay flat. When you're coming back to your starting position, you're pushing through your lead heel. So push through your lead heel, come back, okay? Okay, now she's going down into a full lunge. Full lunge is when your thigh is parallel with the ceiling. Again, this is the more advanced routine. You can work up to that. And there are ways, okay, and not just doing squats. You know, when I'm thinking about that, let's have all you guys try and see if you're not stronger if you do this abdominal bracing that I was talking about. So I want you to pull your belly buttons in, feet flat on the floor, belly buttons in, brace your abdominals, and stand up. Okay? And then sit down, and now just relax like you usually are when you try to get up. Try to get up and see if you feel any difference on how much more strength you have when you incorporate your abdominals into that movement. Do you all feel that? Yeah. It's a big difference. And the more you work on that, the more you work on your abdominals and your lower back muscles, the stronger you're going to be, the better your gait is, the whole 9 yards. It's probably the most important thing I can get across to you guys today. Okay, now we're going to go. Oh, I got a medicine ball down there. We'll use this one. Okay, Sharon's going to do a chopping motion. But all our mechanics are going to be the same. She's going to be bracing the abdominals. You don't want to bring the ball way behind your head. You want to bring it about right here. As soon as you bring it behind your head, you want to do this. So you're braced. She's going to come down, swing through her legs, and then back up to the start position. All the time, if you look at her back, all you got to do is look at her shoulder and her hip. If they stay in alignment, you know her spine stayed in neutral. So, okay, let's show them one or a couple more, one or two that are with your rounding your back. Okay, that wasn't even good. That's not even rounding. There we go. Right, I went. This is rounding.
Oh, okay, all right.
This is what we don't want you to do.
This is the crappy one. Or way back like
so
that.
She's so used to, and I'm so used to maintaining a neutral spine when I'm doing action like that. It's hard for her not to have a neutral spine. It's hard for her to do a slouching movement.
Anymore.
Even when I'm watching her. Okay, now we're going to go into Lonnie's class. Did I miss something here?
Turn it up right now.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. I missed something here. We want to go back. I've got some range of motion exercises. All my clients do these, I hope. Everybody's got a copy of them. We're going to take a quick run through these things. There's only 10 of them. It will only take a few minutes. Exhibit 2A and 2B. Okay, what I tried to do is just to walk from the top of your body down. This could serve as a warm-up for a lot of things that you do, a lot of sports that you play, or golf or anything like that too. Now, this is just to basically warm you up and keep the range of motion that you have. This is not to try to increase the range of motion. If you want to try to increase the range of motion in a certain joint, you probably need to hold that position for like a 30 count. This is just a nice slow pace, and when you do these exercises, depending on the time of the day, would affect the speed that you would do them. So if I'm doing these things first thing in the morning, if I'm sitting on the edge of my bed, I'm going to do a flexion and an extension of my neck. I'm going to do that pretty slow. I'm not going to be doing that fast. And everything on here, or anything we talked about today, or anytime you're doing any sort of exercise, should always be pain-free. You always work in a pain-free range of motion. So the first one on here is the neck flexion and extension. Let's do a couple of those. Usually if you have a problem, you have a problem on the extension. Okay? Once you lose your ability to extend your neck, your body's going to look for someplace else in order so that you can look up. And where do you think it's going to go? It's going to go right here, right? If I look up at a bird or a plane and I can't look up like this, I'm doing this, right? So then you're hyperextending your lower back, not a good thing. Neck rotation is probably one of the most important things in this little group of exercises for you to do, especially for all the people who are still driving. All we're doing is turning left and turning right, turn left, turn right. If you pull your shoulders back just a half an inch and do the same movement, you're going to get a little bit more and it feels a little bit better. If you hear cracks, don't worry about the cracks. They say it's just gas. But it is, as you get older, you get little crystal deposits in your joints, and that's some of the cracking that you hear, but some of it is gas, according to the literature that's out there. Some of that will wear away over time if you're consistent on doing this, and there will be less cracking. Shoulder circles, we've done these kind of things. Shoulder circles, boom, and backwards, boom. And arm circles. Let's everybody try arm circles. Now, some people can't do arm circles at shoulder height because it hurts. You can do arm circles anywhere from down here, all the way up to here, as long as it's pain-free, and you're looking for a pain-free range of motion to do these in. Don't try to force something that hurts. Okay? So you're going to do 10. What I like to do when I'm doing this, I have my hands down, and I rotate towards my thumbs. When I want to do the backwards ones, I just turn my hands up, and then I'm rotating backwards towards my thumb. All right? So we got forward, and then we got backward. Okay?
How long do you do each of these?
Okay, that's at the very end. I was going to say that till the end, but since you asked the question, I want you to start with 10 of those, 10 of each, adding 5 per week till you get up to 25. When you do all of these 10 exercises, I timed it. When you don't have to read the directions anymore, it'll take you between 5 and 7 minutes. That's all. Okay? Shoulder reaches. Everything in your body is use it or lose it. If you never reach up for something and you need to reach up and high in the garage for something, you're going to have a tough time doing it and getting a possible injury. Now, I like variety. So sometimes I'm going to reach up with my palms facing in. Sometimes I'll reach up with my palms facing away from me. Sometimes I'll reach up with my palms facing towards me. Exercise you should be doing exercise so you make your life easier outside of the gym or outside of your house or whatever. Does that make sense? Right? You want to make your life easier. Okay. Then we got forward bends, and this will help you practice that thing I had Sharon doing with this. Now, you can do this from a seated position or a standing position. Today we got you guys all sitting down, so we'll have you sitting down. So let's scoot your butt forward on the chair a little bit. And I'll demo that. Okay, I'm braced. I'm bending forward from my hips. If you feel your shirt tightening up or your blouse tightening up in the back here, you're doing this. Look at something a little bit further ahead and bend from the hips. On any exercise that you do that affects your back or your abs, where you position your hands really determines the intensity of the exercise. So if I was doing that exercise and just had my hands here, that's going to be the easiest thing. As I start moving my hands further up my body, this is going to get more difficult. And this is the hardest. Okay? And then after that, we can add weights, and then don't ask me what comes after that because you don't want to know. Okay, wrist circles. This is part of what surgeons do. This is one of the many things that they do. Your elbow joint is a hinge joint. If it does more than this, you got trouble. Just as I'm supposed to do that. So I want you to lock your elbows into your sides, palms facing in, and just say like, come here, motion. Come here, come here. Okay, and then we want to go the other way and just roll them out. Okay, great. Oh, ankle circles. I do these either sitting in a chair or a lounge chair or laying across the bed. And if you do them in a lounge chair, it's a lot easier because your legs are supported. Your knee joint is just like your elbow joint. If it does more than this, you're going to the orthopedic doctor. Okay? So, this is real important for your balance because your balance starts at your feet and your ankles specifically. If you got tight ankles, I guarantee you, you're going to have poor balance. So we want to roll inwards first, trying to touch your toes. And then we're going to roll outwards, which feels really weird if you never did it or haven't done it in a long time. And sometimes it helps to keep your hands on your knees so they don't get too much involved in this. And the other thing we want to do is point and flex. Point and flex. Variety comes in here because sometimes I like to point and flex pigeon-toed or Charlie Chan. And you can do that anywhere. You can do that multiple times throughout the day because it is real important when you're watching TV or whatever. Do a little bit of that. Okay, now comes another one of those man-woman things.